Love is the answer to life. Aim for love in everything that you do because it is one of the answers to your life. It is so complex, it is so unique that the emotional lens that it puts on your life is going to lead you in a direction that is just pure positivity, okay? And it's so intricate that it's going to build you up, it's going to build your life, it's going to make you feel better overall. Next. If you don't know how to get there, just start moving. Okay, when you just start moving, you start taking inaction. You might learn some things you didn't know before, and you might learn exactly how to get to the end result, all right? And it might be a lot easier than you think it is, okay? Next, return to the start, or returning to the start is always easier than getting there, okay? So you can always turn around. There's always a moment where you think about turning around, or when you have some sort of doubt or disbelief, and you need to persevere through that. And you have to say, okay, listen, I can turn around now. It will never be easier to turn around now, but just going is actually more important because I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get to the result. I'm gonna get to the end, all right? And even if that path to go back is tempting, don't go for it. Next. Do not just stand there, okay? Don't ever just stand or sit there and do nothing, okay? But because what's gonna happen is that everything around you is going to move and everything around you is going to progress and it's gonna get better than you and it's gonna get, stronger and more evolved than you are and you're gonna start falling behind. So don't stand there, at least do something. Even if you don't know what to do, just do something. Next, you can do much more than you think you can. Okay, there are so many things out there that you might be able to think, I don't know if I can do it, or I don't know if I'm going to be good enough for it. You can do it, okay? You are capable of doing it. You are the kind of person who can go out and you can adapt to any situation that you come in contact with, okay? So don't allow that self-doubt, that thing to come into mind when you get into that moment where it's hard or where you know that, oh man, I'm not sure if I can quite make it. Too bad. You know you can make it. And even if you can't, trying is better than not trying. Okay? Next. Things continue to move around you when you just stand still. Okay? So if you get in a situation where you start standing still, or where you get in a situation and it's not playing out how you want it to, okay? Don't just stand still, okay? Because everything around you is going to get better. Everything around you is going to evolve. So you have to move. You can't just stand there. Next, if you want to achieve something, you have to put more weight on one side than the side that is required to move it. You have to find an ability to have leverage. You have to find a way to push it. And that's going to be through using weight, using leverage against it in a way that's going to be beneficial for you. Okay? And you have to find those moments. Find those moments that matter where you have a ratio of I put this in and I get more out. Okay? Next, a little bit can last you much longer than you think it can. Okay? When you get in a situation and that you don't have enough resources or you don't think you have enough resources, that amount of resources you have is going to last you a lot longer than you think it is. Okay? You can do a lot more than you think with what you have. Where the problem comes in is that you start to have some fear that it's not enough, or you start to think that you're lacking the resources you need in order to get to the result. Okay? But you can last a lot longer on the little bit that you have. Okay? Next. Never trust the first impression. Verify it with your other senses. Some things have a facade on them. Some things have a costume where they are in disguise. And what you have to do is you have to say, I have these senses. Okay? I'm not just going to trust one sense. Okay? I'm not just going to trust my eyes. I'm going to trust my ears. I'm going to trust my hands. I'm going to trust my instinct. These are the things that I'm going to use in order to analyze this because I never trust one thing with one sense. Okay, I need to know what are the intentions of this thing. okay? Because if you don't know the intentions of something, then you can't label it right. And if you can't label it right, then it's going to have power over you, and you don't want that. Next, 80% of things are above you. Don't forget to lift your head up and look around from time to time, okay? And you need to do this because sometimes you get so, or I even, get so wrapped up in doing something or trying to progress or trying to get this project done, whatever it is, that I need to look up and I need to look around and see that there is 80% of my life, because I don't want to miss out on good opportunities and opportunities to find, leverage to make my job easier, or maybe not even my job. Maybe it's just an emotional connection with something. Okay, I don't want to miss out on the good, the rich opportunities of life because I am so buried into what I'm doing. And look, being buried into what you're doing is important. Of course it is important, but you have to look up from time to time. Next, never put yourself in a bad spot, even if it's just for a moment, okay? You never want to lose everything. You never want to be in that spot where I have all of my risk on the table and that might crash out all of my reward, okay? You never want to be in that situation, because if you lose everything, then you have nothing. You can't build a foundation. You can't build on top of anything because you don't have anything. And so you have to get reset at that point, and you don't want that, okay? You always want to have something left. And even if it's just a little bit, even if you put a bunch on the line and it gets ripped away from you, you always want to have some left over. Next, you'll never know when you have to stop. So it's always a good idea to have a good position. Okay, so sometimes something's going to come up and it's going to make you freeze. It's going to make you stop, or it's going to impede your progress. You want to have a good position when that comes up. You want to have a lofty perch where you can go, okay, I like where I'm at, or I like this situation, or I'm okay with what I have going on now, so that I can start to pick up the ball and start moving again, because this thing was hard, or it kind of hurt me, or whatever it is. But what I built so far is enough, and it's good enough, okay? Next, never put yourself in a spot where you can fall and you can lose it all ever, okay? You never want to be in a spot where you lose everything, okay? The last thing that we talked about was about losing a lot. This is about losing everything, like losing your life or, your family, whatever it is. Never put yourself in that position, because the moment that happens, your whole life falls apart. You don't want to lose everything ever, okay? So always focus on how much risk am I assuming here? And if everything's on the line, then you have to get away from that, okay? And do everything you can to get away from that. Do everything you can to get away from the situation where you can lose everything. Okay, next. Never let the reward feeling in your mind overcome your focus in the moment. Okay? Celebrate all of your success when the performance is off. So if you are on a football team and you're running down the field and you catch a ball, you're going to have a dopamine hit from catching that ball, and you're going to be like, yeah, let's go. But what's going to happen is that you're going to get complacent, and you don't want to get complacent. You don't want to be in a situation where I still have to keep doing something, but I'm complacent now. Because what's going to happen is that a linebacker is going to blindside you or something like that. And you don't want that to happen, okay? You want to be in a situation where I am going to act no matter what with no reward until the performance is over. And then I will celebrate, okay? Don't ever get complacent. And while you're performing, don't ever get complacent. And don't ever let that reward feeling even faze you, okay, until the performance is over. Next, always know the most important thing around you in terms of danger and in terms of value, okay? You want to know what can hurt you the most or what can affect you the most, okay? And those things are important to pay attention to. You want to pay attention because if something is able to hurt you, you want to know, okay, this is what's able to hurt me. And I want to stay away from that, or I want to observe that, or I want to know it better so that it can't hurt me more in the future, okay? And you also want to know what's most valuable, because you want to be able to go towards it. You want to be able to go towards that thing that's more valuable and obtain it, or see what it's about, or find more information on it, okay? So always know those two things. Next, okay? Life is full of physical danger, okay? Which is why I will always push for you to be better, because I don't want you to be in a place where you are unsecure, okay? I want you to have freedom, okay? So, next, front load the hard work and front load as much as possible. Get things done. Go out there and do that hard work first, and then you can enjoy all of the other things later, okay? You can enjoy all of the satisfaction from putting in that hard work later, okay? To get that long-term gratification. Next, delay enjoyment as much as possible until the goal is achieved. And what that's going to do is you're going to be able to go through things, and you're going to be able to sit there and be disciplined, and you're going to be able to go through it non-stop, because that discipline is going to be what drives you. It's not going to be reward based, okay? And then you're going to be able to keep going and going and going until you get that reward, and then you can start enjoying it. You have no idea how to work. You always need to improve your way of working and get better, and keep trying to get better, okay? So if there's one thing that you need to get better at, or I need to get better at even, is that I need to get better at work, okay? So when I'm doing something, when I'm working on it, I need to get better at it, because work is going to be a large component of my life, okay? Everything in my life is going to be centered around, working or getting better or whatever it is. So I need to focus on, you know what? I'm never in first place. That I always have to feel like maybe I'm in last place, or maybe I'm not winning at this yet, but I got to keep going and I got to keep improving, okay? Next, combine mindsets, combined ideas, and combined good things to get the best of everything, okay? So you want to get in a situation where everything in your life is great, because you don't just want one thing to be good or one thing to be great. You want it all to be great, okay? So find all of the ideas that benefit your life, especially the things that correlate to you directly, okay? We've all heard about, the person who is so good at something. They're such a good athlete, or they're so good at their career, whatever it is. We've all seen that kind of person who's so great at something, but some other part of their life is just not there. That it's, they're addicted to a substance, or, some sort of relationship is dragging them down, and that's what's going to ruin their whole career. Okay? And if they just committed a little bit of time, just a little bit of time to that, then they would be good in that area. Okay? And then they can live a life that's better, that's more fulfilling, and that's good everywhere. Okay? So do the things that are going to make your life good everywhere, and then you have a great high-level foundation of your entire life. Next, law of attraction. Each thought primes you for your thinking pattern in the future. Where your thoughts remain long-term is the kind of life that you are going to live. So think positively and do it more often, okay? So your neurons, and the ones that you activate more, are going to make your life better. So if you activate certain positive neurons more and more and more, what's going to happen is that it's going to cover your entire life. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to get in a position where you think positively about everything, because that's going to resonate, and it's going to create the pattern of thinking for your future, and your future is going to get better because of it, okay? So prime those neurons positively. Next, if you think too far into the future, you will fail to execute now. Okay, so if you're constantly thinking about what's next, what's 5 years out, or what's 3 years out, or whatever, and trying to position yourself from where you are in your current situation to how you're going to adjust for that and how you're going to deal with that in the future, look, your circumstance is going to be completely different. Okay, so what you need to do is don't think too far out in the future. Take some action and execute now.